Well, let me talk to you about something very special, and it's not until you actually get that opportunity to really put a product through its paces that you get a true feeling for it. I've been using the Aero poles now, the X5, the X7, and this beauty here, the Aero Pro, for quite a few months now. We've rigorously tested these poles because we wanted to ensure that before we released them, they were exactly what we wanted. Development takes time, and we as a company want to make sure that everything is right when we release a product. What I love about the Aero poles, and especially the Aero Pro, is they've all got very important key features. For a start, balance. Balance is everything. Balance and strength. But in order to have strength, that sometimes causes a problem with the balance. But what we wanted to do was ensure that the taper, the balance, the recovery, the whole stiffness, the whole process of the hardest part of developing a pole was there. And that's exactly what we've done. When you're fishing a pole above 13 meters, you want something that's going to respond, recover really, really quickly, regardless of the terrain that you're faced with, whether you're on commercials fishing really short lines, little floats, catching fish shallow with maggots and casters, getting loads of bites, wanting to prevent tangles, yet at the same time across the board to your natural venues, fishing big rigs on rivers, striking really hard. All these elements are really important when it comes into developing a pole, because they're the areas where you end up with problems if you don't put the time and effort into developing a pole properly. Now, past 13 meters, these poles are incredibly stiff, and I mean, it's without doubt the stiffest poles I've ever used, and that comes from the quality of the carbon that we've used, but also incorporating it into the taper that we've used with the balance. The balance is incredible, yet at the same time, they're strong. They've got some authority behind them. And that is something we as a company always wanted to deliver, a universal pole that literally ticks all the boxes. So you buy a pole and it does everything that you want it to do, regardless of the terrain that you're faced with. Now, it's also got some key features. All the poles within the range have some really important key features. I've mentioned balance. That's really, really important. But what I think the main thing that stands out with all the poles is the finish. The finish is so smooth. The smoothest finish on any other pole, any pole I've ever used before. And that is so important. So let's take into consideration, recently I've been going to Lindholm Lakes, fishing really shallow, fishing maggots. So now I'm fishing a little float, 8 inches deep, with a very short lash, and I'm shipping that out, catching a lot of fish, so I need to be efficient. In the last few months, I've been using this pole since the warm weather's come and the fish want to feed shallow. I cannot remember the last time I had a tangle. And I couldn't say that before, but now I can. Because this finish on this pole is so smooth, even with a really short lash, you're shipping that pole out, there's minimal bounce on the pole, maximum recovery, and if there's minimal bounce, your rig doesn't bounce and tangle. That is the difference. And I can't believe how smooth the carbon is from this finish. And that's with all the poles within the Aero range. The X5, the X7, the Pro, all have exactly the same finish. As well as that, at the end of each section, we've created some lovely reinforcement, especially a little bit bigger on the larger sections where you're actually putting your elbow on the end of the section like that. You want that security, you want that strength underneath your elbow, knowing that that pole's not going to let you down, even if you're striking really hard on rivers in flowing water, deep water, big rigs, swinging in fish, even fishing 11, 13 meters to hand abroad with 8, 10, 12 gram rigs and above. You want something that's not going to let you down, and that's why we designed the reinforcement in the bigger sections. And the reinforcement also goes all the way down the pole on each of the sections, so there's reinforcement on the end of the sections to protect the sections and create longevity with the product that you're going to buy. Aero wrap joint system. I can't stress how important this is, and it's something we have to bring back into the Aero range of poles, because it really does increase the longevity of the pole, prevents wear of carbon, and basically once you've wiped that down after a session, it's like brand new again. So that is really, really important. There's some key other features as well, especially with the X7 and the Aero Pro, the F1 kits, short number 3s. Add all these together and you end up with an incredibly stiff pole that makes your fishing an absolute joy. So if you are in the market looking for a new pole, regardless of the price budget, whether it's the X5, the X7 or the Pro, you must take a look at these poles at your local Shimano dealer because they are just simply incredible.